And I think that's why it's called Karate Do.
Right.
It's not just called karate, it's
Right.
Karate Do.
Right.
Do being a way, it's a way of life.
Right.
And you can use that way to make you better at whatever else, better husband, better father, better Christian, better whatever.
And that's what, right.
Employee.
And that's what Kitty Community teaches. I mean,
It does.
Because you've heard me say this, I've heard you say it, we say it in classes all the time. You know, be more, we're trying to, especially with kids, you want to produce a good citizen.
Right.
You know, you want to produce a good human being. You know, that, to me, that's the way it should be. And I'm not saying that sport, martial arts, doesn't do that.
Right.
You know, and I want to be real clear on that because, again, I've got some really good friends that are in sport karate. And they do produce good students, very respectful and honorable students. I just, in Kitty Kangaroo, we just don't train for a lot of tournament type stuff. It's a way of life, becoming a better person, becoming a better husband, becoming a better wife, like you said, a better Christian, a better martial artist, a better student in school, right. Whatever. You know, just, you know, like one of our sayings, be better today than you were yesterday. Just make yourself better.
And the good thing about tournaments, and I emphasize, we have our students go to tournaments, build the camaraderie, and usually our students do pretty darn well, because they, getting hit or kicked doesn't bother them.
Right.
That happens in the dojo all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They go to a tournament, that's like, that's nothing.
Right.
That's nothing at all. And so it's amazing some of the students that we've developed over the years and that we've seen and where they've grown. And I know just in the Abilene Karate Club, I got some outstanding.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah, outstanding students. I'm very blessed. And I want to talk about your recent promotion this last August. You got promoted to Judan, 10th degree black belt by Hanshi White. What did that feel like? Very few people have ever got to that level in the martial arts. A lot of people who have red belts promoted themselves. And you did, you know, you multiple black belts, you found this style. You still went through the hard work to have someone else promote.
I feel if you put the work into something, and you don't, and I don't necessarily feel you have to go through a belt test to put the work into something.
Right, exactly.
Hanshi White made a statement that I had absolutely no idea of, and I have got so much respect for that man. And again, he's in sport martial arts. He puts on a huge tournament in Lancaster, South Carolina, every year, and I just love that man to death. And respect him so much. But he made a statement, as you know, because you were there for my ceremony. He said, I have been watching Soke Briggs for the last 3 or 4 years. I had no idea he was watching me. And, you know, and that should tell everybody, be careful what you do, because there are people watching you.
Right.
You know, and I had no idea that was part of, if you will, his testing process of seeing what kind of person or what kind of martial artist that it was going to be, or, you know, that I'm trying to develop into and stuff like that. You know, but yeah, honestly, to get to your question, when I first started martial arts as a kid years ago, and of course it's been on and off, and as money as we could afford, I've always loved martial arts, but when I first started martial arts as a kid, I honestly didn't think I'd ever be a shodan. My first degree black belt. And each step, actually, to be able to test for that, I've got a black belt in multiple styles, as you know, but each step beyond that has been such a blessing, and God has been good to me. Uncle Sam has been good to me. Of course, if it wasn't for the good Lord above, Uncle Sam couldn't be good to me either. But I've been at the right places at the right times and had the right mentors at the right times to help me out there. And if it hadn't been for the military sending me to different places around the world.
That's a great opportunity.
Exactly. And like you said, instead of sitting in a dorm, take a class.
Right.
Do something. You never know where that's going to pay off for you somewhere down the line. And that's what I did. If I would get stationed somewhere, I would always look for something, a different dojo that was doing something different than I did, and a lot of times something that was similar to what I did, but just an opportunity to train with someone else. you know, and you never know who you're gonna run into in
You
training.
have no idea.
And I've ran into the right people at the right time, at the right places, and Hanshy White being one of them. You know, because when I retired from the military and moved to Charlotte, North Carolina to become a police officer for Charlotte Metro Police Department, I never knew Hanshy White at that time, and I never dreamed of getting anywhere.
Right.
My last two promotions, my Q-Don and my Q-Don both came from Hanshy White. You know.
Well, I've told you many times, I mean, training with you in the Philippines, if I hadn't trained with you, and when I got back to the States, the people that helped propel my career in that Southern California area, we're not even looked at. They would just thought, oh, okay, he's got pretty technique and that's it. But they could see the perseverance and the toughness. And, you know, pretty technique is only good as far as it can take it. You have to get past that. And I owe all that to you. And people like, well, you know that, Dan Heck or kids, they wouldn't even look twice.
And you've met some really good people. That's helped you through your career.
Right, but that's, a lot of that, I've always told that over to you. Because they would not even look twice at me.
Well, you know, and you and I have had this discussion, and we both feel the same about this. The best martial arts training that I feel that I've ever had in my life was at dojo in the Philippines. Because you and I went at it constantly. Hard,
yeah.
See who was it?
Who was kind of like who?
It was kind of like every night that we sparred, it was a tough man contest.
Right.
See who could outdo who. And
I got the worst in.
Yeah, no, I doubt that. I can't kick nowhere near as good as you can.
You get much harder.
But that developed a different character in you. That developed a different character in me. And I mean, it's just those years that we were over there is just by far. And I've had some good students. I've had some good dojos all over the United States as well as overseas. And I wouldn't say that the dojo, the people that was training there, was the best that I've ever had, or the best that I've ever trained. But the upper belts that I had there, which included you, was some of the best upper belts, and we had some of the best times.
The best times in and out of the dojo.
Right.
Just, it was,
exactly.
for lack of a better word, magical. It just
Exactly.
it was coming together.
I mean, if you meet someone that you click with, like us, you know.
Oh, we lived and breathed it 5 days a week.
Yeah. We had some of the best fights and competitions and the best talks.
Right.
You know, just sitting down and talking about
martial
stuff.
arts.
Yeah.
It was just
So hands down, the best
time.
The best martial arts.
Yeah, it really was. It's a great time, and it's propelled me in so many ways that I.
Oh, it has me too.
Yeah, I sure do. Let's talk about, you have black belts in throughout North Carolina and throughout the country. But let's talk about a few. I mean, I was up there for a recent black belt promotion, and that was at Dana, and that was 9.5 hours.
9.5 hours.
I just pushed through it. And what's so special about that, when somebody gets a black belt in Keto Kiwi, they know they earned it. There's no doubt about where they stand. They know they earned that black belt. I just like to talk about earning something, because I think what happens is so many things are easy now. For an example, expected. You know, I taught at a university for 5 years in religion, and I was doing some research and discovered that most people graduating with a bachelor's degree now would not even pass a high school exam 100 years ago. And I have the same feeling when it comes to martial arts. And I'm not trying to demean schools out there. I understand what they're doing and why they do it. But I really believe that most people who get a black belt now probably wouldn't get a black belt 100 years ago when the belts were first given out, or the black belt equivalent, because many times those certificates.
And that's sad.
And that's sad, right. That crucible of training just is not there anymore. If you might talk about how Keto Kiwi tries to build that character to get tough and get through that and persevere.
Well, first of all, as you know, this is the wrong style, wrong system, wrong school, wrong dojo, whatever you want to call it. It is the wrong one to come to if you expect to get black belt in a couple of 3 years. Right. The only way that you're going to do that is take private instructions from, you know, somebody that has been around the block like you, and I can think of a couple other black belts out there in our style. take private one-on-one instruction, because you can spend more time with that person,
Right.
and they develop much
Like
quicker.
a couple of students I have.
Right, and those girls and, well, all three of them, Christy, Avery, and Augie, I mean, you can tell they take private lessons. They would not be where they're at today if they were in a public school.
Right.
They just can't. So, it's the wrong school, if you will, we'll just use that phrase, it's the wrong school to come to if you expect to get something quick.
Right.
And there's nothing, and it's self-paced. It's not like every month, every other month, every 3 months, we're gonna have a promotion. If you think you're ready to sign up for it, we'll test you. We don't work that way. You know, when a black belt determines you're ready to test, they will let you
They
know.
will let you know.
And and of course, you need to be preparing yourself every single day in case a black belt comes to you and say, hey, I think you're ready to test.
Right.
And you know, we give pre-tests. We make sure they know their stuff before they get there. And when Dana Carr took her black belt test last August, when you came up to Charlotte, and you said it took 9.5 hours, and one thing I want to stress to everybody, that 9.5 hours was 9.5 hours.
Right.
There was no lunch break in there.
No.
As a matter of fact, we only gave her 3 breaks during that 9.5 hours, and that was just to get water in her to keep her hydrated.
Right.
And they weren't prolonged like 15, 20, 30-minute breaks. It was, 5 minutes, go to the restroom real quick, drink a bottle of water, keep her hydrated.
Right.
I mean, it was 9.5 hours of just, putting it to it.
Right.
Because I'm trying to use plain language here, but, 9.5 hours of helps, basically what we put her through.
Yeah.
And that whole board of and it was nobody but Kita Kimeru black belts that had already crossed over that crucible, that was sitting there grading her, and each one of us just putting her through it. And I mean, hard contact, hard workout, but doing katas over and over multiple times and just hitting her with questions, self-defense, breaking, I mean, just everything. It was just hard.
Right.
It wasn't 9.5 hours like, hey, we'll come in here at, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, and by, 3:30, is that 9.5 or whatever it is?
Right. Yeah.
By 3:30, you're gonna be down. We'll take a lunch break, and we'll take a 15, 20-minute break every hour on the hour. So that was nothing like that.
Right.
Heck, I got tired of sitting for 9
Oh, yeah,
minutes
you
until the
stiff.
fighting came.
Yeah, the board people are stiff.
Right.
We're stiff.
Until the fighting came,
Right.
when all of us were in bottom, like you said earlier, then whoever's sitting on that board, unless they've got an injury or they can't fight for whatever reason, whoever's sitting on that board gets a piece of whoever's testing for it, because you've got to make it through that crucible. You've got to make it through each one of those black belts.
Right.
Sparring, and it wasn't a time sparring. Hey, give us a minute here, 2
Right.
minutes here.
That's when that black belt says. I'm
Right, whatever black belt was fighting her until he or she determined, okay, I've seen enough. And that may be after 2 minutes,
Right.
but it also may be after 30 minutes.
Right.
It's just, and some of our black belts like yourself has got a motor. I
Yeah.
mean, you can kick and punch all day long.
Yeah.
And that happened to her,
Yeah.
I mean, I wanna say, or some people would say, if they were to see it, which they're closed tests.
Closed
And
tests.
The public aren't allowed to see our black belt tests. And it's not that we got something to hide, it's a bridge that you gotta cross,
Right.
and you can't get in there unless you've already gotten the honor of being a black belt, we don't even allow brown belt. Now, we might use brown belt for self-defense, as a partner when somebody's been self-defense or hold a pad.
And they become great gophers.
Right, exactly. But that's part of crossing that crucible,
Crucible,
going through that crucible and crossing that bridge.
When the katas start, they
Right,
leave.
and definitely no one's around when the fighting starts. That's all black belts.
Right, but it should give hope to any, and I just picked Danny because she's the most recent, but it should give hope that when you're testing, everybody on that board's been through it.